You know it was a boring debate when the highlight of the night was a fly landing on Mike Pence's head. Coming to you live from the Commonwealth, welcome back to Nude News. Welcome back to Nude News. As always, I'm Andrew Furman. This episode, we break down this week's vice presidential debate with our chief correspondent, Mark Ramson. Mark, why don't you break down what we saw the other night?
As you said, with a housefly being able to steal the show, I think it's safe to say that vice presidential debate was a lot less interesting than the previous debate between President Trump and Vice President Joe Biden. The candidates talked to COVID once again, with Kamala Harris having one of her best moments right at the beginning of the debate when talking about the Trump administration's failures on COVID. Later in the debate, Pence was unable to get a straight answer out of Harris as to whether or not her administration would pack the Supreme Court if they won the election, similar to how Biden sidestepped that same question last week.
Mark, will the debate have any effect on the election?
As to who won or how this will affect the election, it seems that both candidates mostly did what they were supposed to do, and there aren't many surprises throughout the night. With only a few weeks till the election, I couldn't imagine this debate would have such a huge impact on undecided voters at this point late in the election season.
All right. Keeping with the overarching theme, let's discuss a super interesting Senate race happening this cycle in South Carolina. Mark, can you give us an update on that?
Well, maybe just as important as the presidency, whichever party is able to take control of the Senate will be making a lot of important decisions these next few years. One seat that Democrats hope to turn blue is that of Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Graham has faced criticisms in light of supporting the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett, saying pretty clearly in 2016 that justices shouldn't get appointed during an election year. Running against him is Democrat Jamie Harrison, who is currently within 2 points of Graham, according to recent polling. Right now, the election looks like a toss up, and it is something to keep your eye on as we move closer to the election.
Finally, let's wrap up tonight's episode with an update on a prospective stimulus bill being discussed in Washington. Mark, should we expect another stimulus package in the near future?
As of October 8th, the release of the next COVID stimulus package is uncertain. President Trump announced that negotiations surrounding this package will be called off, only to reverse that statement later that day. These negotiations were initially called off to focus on the appointment of Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett. However, Trump made another statement on Thursday saying that he would resume talks. The stimulus package in question involves another possible $1,200 in checks, as well as aid given to airlines to support their laid off workers, which number over 30,000.
Mark, as always, thank you for joining us. Well, that's all we have for tonight, everybody. Remember, size only matters when it comes to poll numbers and maybe crowd sizes. Signing off from ECTV 40 Studio and everyone here at Nude News, I'm Andrew Furman saying good night.